Transformation versus transaction. Okay, transactional volunteering. I'm going to give you a story about this one. Transactional volunteering is you go, you stack a pile of boxes, the nonprofit says thank you, you drive away. You did a good thing. That's great. Transactional volunteering is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It is good. Employee volunteering has to go beyond transactional volunteering to achieve the benefits that it promises, because you need engagement and you need to generate effective commitment. So let me paint you a picture. And this is one we use in all our trainings. So this is a true story. I work at Company X, and Bob down the hall has been one of these champions for a couple of years. And Bob and I are friends, work friends, you know what that means. So we're work friends, and Bob comes to me, and he's asked me on a very regular basis, about 14 times I think, to go do something with him volunteering. I'm like, I always have a good excuse. I can't, my wife, blah, blah. But this time I didn't have coffee. I don't know what it was. Maybe I was tired. He caught me off guard, and I blurted out, sure. Oh, nuts. So he says, I'll follow up with an email. This is so great. Bob's very excited. And we're going to be in 2 weeks. And I know I'm going to forget, because I don't volunteer. Like most Americans, I do not volunteer on a regular basis. I might do a walk for the cure or something like that every once in a while. If there's a hot dog and a T-shirt, sure. But it's not a practice. So anyway, so I make a note, because in my iPhone, because I don't want to forget. And sure enough, 2 Fridays, my alarm goes off, and I'm like, volunteer. Oh, shoot. I got to get up and do that tomorrow. So I set my alarm to get up early. Next day, it's on a Saturday, I get up, and I'm thinking, where's the email? Where am I supposed to go? I'm not planning ahead. It's a low priority, believe me. And so I find out where it is, and I'm driving. I think I got to go to get a Starbucks, because I'm not. So I pull in, I get the Starbucks. There's a line. There's always a line at Starbucks. So anyways, I get there late. I'm late. So I find a parking spot, and I walk up, and it's called Phoenix something or another. It's youth, and it's painting. So I'm dressed in painting clothes. At least I got that right. So I walk up the stairs, knock on the door, and a guy I don't know answers the door, but he's wearing my company's logo, so I know I'm in the right place. So I said, is Bob here? And yeah, come on in. Bob's here. Bob, Chris here. So Bob comes over and says, hey, Chris, thanks for coming. Yep, no problem. Here's your T-shirt. I hand him my coffee. He gives me a T-shirt. Put on the T-shirt. Coffee. What should I do? Bob says, well, we're going to be painting all the trim in this house. So there's carpet on the stairs. Do you mind taping the stairs off so we can paint the trim? Yeah, no problem. So I'm taping off that. And then I go and find him. What else should I do? Well, we're washing the windows. So there are a couple of people over there. Just introduce yourselves and wash windows. So I go over there and do that. And this kind of goes on, 20-minute jobs for like 2.5 hours. Around 11:30, I get lunch at noon, so I go and I find Bob. Bob, I got to go. He's like, oh, we were going to stay till noon. Oh, you can't stay? Okay, that's fine. Thanks for coming. No problem. All right. Keep the T-shirt. Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it. Get my car, and I go and have lunch. Okay, that's a typical employee volunteering program, right, by and large. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's good. That's fine. But what we're after is, in light of this slide, is something a little different. So I work at this company. And Bob has asked me 14 times to go do this thing, and every time I have a good excuse, but this time when he comes up, I haven't had my coffee, or I'm a little sleepy, I don't know what it is, but I say yes, I regret it immediately. And he says, great, he's so excited, Bob. So he says he'll send me an email. I make a note, because I know I'm going to forget, and sure enough, 2 Fridays from now, I do forget. And I see the alarm, and I think, what? Oh, nuts, I have to go do this tomorrow. So I set my alarm, I get up a little late, I'm groggy, I head out the door, and I know I got to get a Starbucks. But there's always a line at Starbucks, so I stand there, and I get there, and I'm late. I find a parking spot. I walk up the door. I knock on the door. A guy I do not know answers the door, but I know I'm at the right place because he's wearing the logo on his shirt. And I say, hey, is Bob here? He says, yes, he is. Bob, Chris is here. So I come in. He hands me the T-shirt. I said, thanks. I said, what should I do? He gives me the coffee back. He says, well, we're painting all the trim, so you mind taping off the stairs so we don't get paint on the stairs? I say, sure. He says, great. So I go to do that, and he grabs my arm, and he says, but in 20 minutes, we're going to go in the kitchen, and we're going to do a brief. All right, sure, thanks. So I tape off the stairs. In 20 minutes, we'll go in the kitchen. We're standing in the kitchen, and Bob says, thanks, everyone, for coming. There's about 15 of us. He says, we're going to take a minute and just go around and introduce ourselves and where we work in the company. So we all go around. Now I know everybody's name, or at least heard their name. I can't remember names very well. And I say mine. He says, great, thanks for coming. Really appreciate you being here. You all had other things to do today. Pile of to-dos and other priorities, but you took time to be here today for 3 hours, and I cannot thank you enough. Problem? Says, I'm going to talk a little bit about the rules and whatnot, but I'm wondering, we're going to have Jack from Phoenix House here. He's going to talk about why we're doing it, how it matters. So we go through the rules and exits and all that. And then Jack says, listen, I want to add my thanks to Bob's. Really appreciate you being here. It's incredible that you all came. Let me tell you a little bit about this place. Phoenix House is for youth on the street. We have a place downtown. This is an actual place in Halifax. We have a place downtown. And when street youth need a night, they can come and stay with us. But for those who want to get off the street, there's sort of a rigorous program where they can come here, and there's 3 youth and 1 adult. And it's tough. But if you make it into the program, we'll help you get your GED, we'll help you write a resume, get a job, learn basic skills. And you'd be surprised what skills youth don't have who live on the street, like showing up on time, being polite, not cursing at the boss. So we have classes, literally, for all these things. And so it really matters. And the kids who are here, the youth who are here, and they run anywhere from 16 to 28, they're here, they have to do all the dishes and all their own cooking and mow the lawn and everything, but there's a lot to the upkeep of a house, so we need volunteers to come in and help us with that. Things like repairing the fence and the back deck and painting trim. He said, let me tell you why it matters that the trim's painted. Because the greatest barrier these kids have to success is the belief that they deserve it. They have no sense of dignity. That has been stripped away from them through awful things in their life that drove them to the street, and then while they're on the street, it got worse. So they do not believe that they deserve kindness or dignity, and when they get really close to making a different kind of choice for a different kind of future than they were able to imagine before, they will often self-destruct. So the most important message that we try and tell these kids day after day here at the house is you have value, you're worth it, make a different choice. And when we paint the trim in this place and keep it tidy and lovely and beautiful, we are telling them, have dignity, have dignity. And so every time you paint trim, you put a little bit of white trim on that, please know that you are layering the trim here, not with just paint, but with a message that says you have value, you have dignity. That's what we're doing here today. Thank you so much for coming. So we break up, okay, and we all go, and I'm thinking about painting and communicating this message of dignity. And then before I leave, we have a little debrief, and I'm asked 2 questions with the whole group again. What did you experience, and was it what you expected? Only 3 of us say anything, but I'm thinking about that. And now I leave. It's 12:30. I stayed longer than I meant to. And now I leave, and I go and have lunch, and guess what I talk about? Right. I talk about these kids and things I hadn't thought about before. And then I go home and I talk to my spouse and my kids, and guess what I talk about? And then I see Bob again in the office, a week later, and I tell him I can't make the next week because I got a lot of work to do, but please let me know about other opportunities, at other things. Why? I don't know why. But there was something that happened for me in that moment that asked me to go further than I thought or experienced before, and that was powerful for me. And so I want to see if it happens again. And I'm on the journey of a volunteer. That's what we're about. The transaction of painting is fine. The transformation that can come through painting, of all things, is powerful and life-changing, and it does affect the corporate culture. We fill our companies with a better version of ourselves. And that's why this matters. And you guys are the gatekeepers of that opportunity, that experience. But we have to own it and begin thinking about what are the elements to a volunteering opportunity that bring about transformation as opposed to just a transaction. And it is hard. The biggest issue we have in training our champions is getting on the phone with the right person at the nonprofit and creating space for a 10-minute brief. That is a huge obstacle for us because most nonprofits are just after the transaction with a payout of a check at the end. And none of us are on that track here in this room, but many nonprofits are, and I can say it because I used to be on that side. But that's not where the real value is.